Welcome to Deck Review, and it is Deck Review number 2, a live look at pitch decks for some up-and-coming startups. My name is William Pretzel, and I'm the Head of Operations at Forefront Coaching, the chosen pitch and communications partner for accelerators across the world. We've helped over 1,600 startups connect with over £150 million in investment through clear and engaging communication techniques. And in this video, I'm hoping to give you an insight into best practices when creating a pitch deck. Today, we've got Molmart, a medtech company based right here in Manchester, founded by Markella Mickelson, a CEO and doctor. She's got more letters after her name than I've got bald patches in my receding hairline. I've met Markella a couple of times through the Manchester ecosystem, but haven't as yet seen her pitch. So this will be a true first look. So let's get into it. Oh, okay. All right. First and foremost, it looks quite clear, looks quite open. It's med tech, so the blue and the white speaks to medical technology. I'm not going to spend a vast amount of time on these first few slides because I did a lot within our last video. You can find it just here. I'll stick a link just up here if you want to have a look at that with KickApp. I spent a lot of time on those first few and didn't get into some of the more nitty gritty later on. What I would say is, again, what I said before, I have been told by Markella that this is definitely a pitch deck. This is 6 minutes. I would say that that's too long. But that explains the slide 1 of 14. Remember, the reason that we're pitching is just for the next conversation. It is to open up questions. We're not trying to tell everybody everything. If you get to the end of a pitch and you ask them and you say, any questions? And they say, no, I think you've covered it. You have done yourself a disservice. The quicker that you can get to conversation, the better, because that's when you get into the golden stuff. That's when you get into the point where they're asking you what they want to know, not just listening what you want them to know. Anyhow, so slide 1 of 14, that makes me a little bit worried, but with 6 minutes, I can see why it's 6 minutes if that's a thing. I love the fact she's got arrays on there, EIS, which is great. She's got all her details in here. However, I mean, there's a couple of things here. You could put your telephone number in there if you want. Don't really need it. Nobody's going to type out your LinkedIn connection. Okay. A little tip: if you've got LinkedIn, you can go into your settings and you can change your plug. You can change your slug, sorry. You can change your slug so it becomes Markella Mickelson. So you can just say, yeah, I'm LinkedIn at Markella Mickelson. So it will just be there, and that can be, get rid of all those numbers. However, even then, people aren't going to write out https:// LinkedIn, yada, yada, yada. They're probably going to take a photo of this. If you really want to put some contact details in there, a really nice way of doing that is with a QR code. Put a QR code up there. When they're taking a photo, they can still take a photo, but it automatically spots up something, and it can take you straight to a landing page which can allow them to download your contact details. It can also take them to your website, can take them to a demo. These are really nice things. I would say put that at the end. Yes, definitely put your name and your email on there, but nobody's realistically going to use all of this, and especially not your LinkedIn. If you want them to connect with you on LinkedIn, that's great. Put a QR code so that they're going to go straight to it. Okay, I'm not going to spend a vast amount of time on the story and the problem because we talked about it a little bit too much. Not too much. We talked about it in the last video. What I would say, there's probably too much information here. How much of this do you say? And if you say it doesn't need to be there. But just for the viewers out there, a really quick story. There's a lot of babies that are born with genetic diseases, and every year 30,000 families £1.7 million per child is the average annual cost of the NHS. This is a solution called Shoremart. Now, Shoremart is helping parents make informed decisions by giving them the opportunity to see the risks involved with having a baby, and to check their genetic risk before getting pregnant. We are always looking, especially in the modern day, to have more information, more power to see the future, because the future is always worrying. As a father of three, I can see why this could have made me feel a little bit better. But that's the solution that they're looking at. I'm going to bypass and I'm going to go straight into some of the more nitty gritty. They've got, 3 problem slides there: problem, solution, and a little bit of the customer journey. I'm going to come down to market opportunity. Okay. First and foremost, there's too much information. If you've got 14 slides and you've got 6 minutes, you're on about 25 seconds a slide. I think I've just done my quick maths right. However, it's going to take me 25 seconds to read all that. I'm not going to talk about that too much. If you want to know that, go back to this link. It's back there. Okay. However, a traditional Tam, Sam and Som is something that is expected to be seen within any pitch deck. But it's become funny numbers. Tam, Sam and Som has become so misunderstood that when an investor sees it, they often just kind of dismiss it, because unless there's some credibility and some structure behind it, you're in a position where it's not worth the slide. It's not worth the slide. I think it should be in there, as long as you're going to give it structure. So, how do you give a Tam, Sam and Som structure? Well, first and foremost, most of the time, people will start with what we call a top-down Tam, Sam and Som. They'll go to the total addressable market. A total addressable market is every person that could possibly buy your product and get solution from your product in the entire world. Okay, so they're saying 47 million women per year, and that's a 70 billion pound TAM. That's fine. That's all right. 70 billion is absolutely fine for a TAM. Most companies do not reach their TAM, and if you do reach your TAM, your business is going to be in trouble, because these scales of businesses are always reliant on growth and investment. If you hit your TAM, you're in trouble, because you've got nothing to invest in, and all of a sudden investment dries up, and all you're doing is you're not growing, you're clinging onto life. So it's fine for that to be a huge number. What tends to happen is when founders are creating their total accessible market, serviceable addressable market, serviceable obtainable market, they will start from there, and then they'll say, okay, we can do 10% of that is here. So we've got US, EU and UK. Number of women tracking their facility in the US, EU and UK. Okay, serviceable, attainable, addressable market. Yeah, I can see that. There's some reason for it. Yeah, I'd be happy with that. 12 billion, quite high for a serviceable, addressable market, but fine. That's okay. I'm not annoyed by that yet. Serviceable, obtainable market. The number of women with private access to private healthcare in the US, EU and UK. This serviceable, obtainable market is where most people go wrong, where most founders go wrong when they're trying to put this together. You see, they either go, here's the amount of people that there are, like we've done here, or even worse, they say, if we can just get 2% of this, Never use the word if. If you use the word if, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because ifs mean that it might not happen. So it might happen, it might not happen. But we don't want that. We want, this is what we're going to do. This is more of a top-down. This is the amount of them, this is the amount of those, and this is the amount of women with access to private healthcare in US, EU, and UK. So this is where we're going. That's fine. This is what I would encourage anybody to do. Your serviceable, obtainable market should be what you can realistically service in terms of your ability to actually service those people, to create the products, to create these packs that they've got here, to actually to service those people. How many can you actually service within 5 years? By the time you get to 5 years, what is that going to look like? Again, how many are you going to realistically be able to obtain? Now, I do a quick maths thing with this. Look at your first year. Look at your first year and think to yourself, okay, how many of these packs can I create, and how many people do we think we can realistically start to work with in the first 3 months or 6 months? If you get that number, say it's 50, for instance, just to make my life easier, we can easily work with 50, realistically work with 50. Then that doubles in the first 6 months, doubles to 100 in the first 12 months. Now, the scaling will mean that the following year, you're probably going to be able to double that capacity. So the following year, you'll get 200. The following year, you'll get 400. The following year, you'll get 800. The following year, you'll get 1,600. So all you do is add those together and look within the first 5 years, what is it that you're going to be able to realistically hold on to and grab onto in those first 5 years? Where are you going to be? That's what we call a bottom-up TAM, SAM and SOM. Always do that, because what you can then do when telling this story, when standing in front of your pitch deck and standing in front of those investors, you can say, starting by focusing on this area, this group of people, this market, this geographical area, we are confident in that we can attain this amount serviceable obtainable market. What you're doing is you're giving a little insight into your go-to-market strategy. You're showing some concrete steps that are going to allow you to go from 0 to all of this big number. That gives a realism to your TAM, SAM and SOM. It gives credibility to you as a founder, and it gives the investor the much more of a validation that that you are making the right decisions and you're going to move in the right direction. So just a tiny bit. We won't have time for a go-to-market strategy, and we really shouldn't include it in a pitch deck. When you're stood up on the stage, go-to-market strategies are so in depth and you want to go into so much detail that you just don't have time for it. It's the same as a revenue forecast. We don't have time for it. Take them out. Okay? So what we can do is use this to give us a little nod to our go-to-market strategy, and then we can move forward. So, market opportunity. I could talk about market opportunity and work with somebody for a good couple of hours creating something that is tangible and that builds credibility and that gets people talking. But I'm not going to do that because we haven't got enough time. So, revenue model. Revenue model is great. Sometimes called a business model. What we're looking at is, how are we making money? What does that look like? How are we making money? How are we selling it? Again, you can give a little nod to your go-to-market strategy within this. It doesn't need to be much, and it definitely doesn't need to be on the screen, but you can say it when you're building something. My first thing is that this is quite complicated straight away. So we've got a revenue model. We're taking £350 profit per Molmart sales unit. Great. That's good. So unit cost here. This is where it gets confusing. So your unit cost is here, the profit is here, and you've got counselling. So this is the pre-app. So this is before the app, this is after the app. Remember, what I'm doing right now is what an investor's going to do while they're trying to listen to you. And actually, they're going to be looking at this and they're going to be getting confused. And they're going to be trying to watch you and listen to you, but they're going to be distracted by this. It's quite complicated to put the pre-app launch and post-app launch. If this is the beta version, just leave it there. Just do the one. Okay? So you don't have to talk about the fact that the genetic counselling isn't in the app quite yet, because what you're talking about is getting investment that brings you towards this app. And that's the completed product. So unless the app's going to take you 5 years, then just do the one. I like the fact that it's £350 profit. You don't need the words we are taking. You don't need the word revenue model. £350 profit per unit. Done. Okay. Now the only problem that I have with this is you've got £350 profit, and then you've got retail prices £11.50 per couple. So there's one thing makes for two. It's one unit for a couple. I'm trying to assess this in my head. So that's £575 person, but yes, okay. All right, I'm with you. Unit cost and the profit is there. So it's £11.50 per couple. So you got sales unit here, and one sales unit does per couple. Fine. Get rid of that. You don't need to. It's going to get too complicated. It's just taken me more than 20 seconds to work that out. Yes, you might be able to talk through it, but if you're just trying to explain diagrams, you're not explaining the product. Just be, you could just say £1,150 per unit for covers of, £1,150 per couple, £350 profit. Now, all I would say is, what it doesn't tell us here is how you're going to sell this. So where does this come from? Do they buy it off the shelf in Boots? Do they work through their private health insurance company? Does this come through the NHS? Is it a different cost when it goes through the private health insurance company? Is it a different thing? Just tell us, give us a little bit more information. If you've got 3 routes to market and you're going to go full on retail in one place, you're going to go partnerships in the other place, and you're going to go NHS in the other side, then just give us those 3 things within there, really clear. Retail, partnerships, NHS. This is how much it costs. This is how much we sell it for. This is how much we sell it for. This is how much we sell it for. Profit, profit, profit. Or just £350 profit at the bottom. Give us some clear visuals that allow us to understand how you're going to sell this. Where is it going to go? And try and make it as clear as possible so you don't have to explain the graphics. What you're doing is getting people excited about the costings and the business model. All right. So endorsements, we're now into traction. So an endorsement is traction. This is a really nice endorsement. Love that. You don't need the word endorsements. ACOG recommends preconception testing. You could just take all of this out and just have ACOG and the quote. Just keep it simple. And just take out the things that don't need to be there, because all they're doing is distracting from you. Traction. Timelines are a little bit complicated. And I know I keep saying this word, that it's complicated. Yes, it is complicated. But timelines are a little bit complicated. It just takes us time to understand them. Unless you're going to walk us through them, then, and what value does that give us? You could, since Q1 2024, so we're now into June, over the last 18 months. So this is what we're looking for. Over the last 18 months, following £100,000 SEIS investment, our patents have been submitted. We have won multiple awards, including the Health Tech Company of the Year. We've created our first app prototype and have begun to generate revenue with key customer pipeline from all of these organizations. And then all you do is you stick all of these really big down here, and you put your winner up here and your 100k SEIS, so 100k SEIS, winner of this and that. Just be careful with competition wins. I don't mind this one, winner of Health Tech Company of the Year. But investors understand how most of these competitions work. Most of them, you pay to be in them. And most of them aren't necessarily a true reflection of the market. They're great, they're brilliant, they're lovely to put at the bottom, but actually it's the revenue generation and your pipeline and these agreements and letters of intent and wait lists and all of these things that are going to be much more valuable. There's too much controversy around winning certain things in the world of pay to win, in the world of pay to publish. It is hard to see any of that traction as actual concrete traction. I'm not saying don't put it in, but don't make a massive thing out of it. Focus on the sales that you have made and the validation of your product through the sales, the connections, the partnerships. Focus on that and make those big. Again, I talked about this in the last session, but your use of logos is great, but they're tiny, especially if they're going to be on a little board that's dotted around a pitch event. They're really small. Make them big. Show them, because people process these in different ways. They'll look at those and they'll say, oh, okay. They don't need to spend time processing them. They can just look at them, they can process them really quickly, and they can understand them. All right. Go-to-market strategy. Again, you're telling us what you're going to do. It's too long, it's too complex, too complicated for a pitch. You should really be a maximum of 5 minutes. Take this out and you'll all of a sudden find yourself, you've got loads of time. And a competition slide, which has got more details than I would want. But I'm going to stop there. I hope this has been valuable. What I'll try and do in the next week's pitch review, I will try and focus more on these next steps, this competition, and the things that I can see here, the team, and oh my goodness, financial projections. But I hope this has been worthwhile. I'm going to just run through some key learnings to remind you of what we talked about. This is really nice. It actually matches really well with, if we have a look at their website, you can see the logos and the branding are in line with what we can see in our deck. So if that works well, so the branding is nice, well done. I like some of these product mock-ups. This is really nice. Bit AI on their hands, but it looks good. Biggest takeaways. Again, too much information. If you say it, don't include it. Just say it, get them to look at you. Your market opportunity, as we talked about before, try a bottom-up approach that is going to show a little bit of your go-to-market strategy and give a little bit more structure to your numbers. I do like what you've got here, but it is a little bit too top-down. Your revenue model, get rid of one and just do what you're going to do once you've got that investment. Keep it simple. More than anything, investors want simplicity in complexity. So you know what you're doing. You know what's happening. You know how the tech works. What they need to know is that you can explain it clearly and simply to the world, to them, to everybody. And that it is going to be an easy win for them as an investor. So, nice, break it down, get rid of some stuff. So again, take away a load of things, keep it simple, focus on imagery. What I would say, what I spotted when we looked at this, these are really nice images. It's just lovely. And why would you not have stuff like that on here? You know, you've got that. This is a bit grainy here. So why are we not using this image on here? Okay, yeah, but there you go. All right. I hope that's worthwhile. I will try and do some editing of these. She's not sent me an editable version, but I will ask for that. Big thank you to Mark Heller. Again, it's an exciting idea. And I think it's one that could do very, very well. MedTech is always difficult because there's a big run up to it. It takes a lot of money to get in, but when it does take off, it's absolutely worthwhile. So for investors out there, please do get in touch with Mark Heller. Let's see if we've got some contact different. Oh, look at that. Look at that right there. What did I say at the beginning? Well done, Mark Heller. Absolutely. So if you want to get in touch with Mark Heller, please feel free, scan the QR code. She is an incredibly credible founder. As I say, I've met her a couple of times, and what they're doing can really change people's lives, and it's something that people are looking for. That more information to help them to plan for the future is exactly what we need in the world. So yeah, get in touch with Mark Heller, even give her a bell. But thank you very much for Mark Heller for being brave and letting us have a look at this. I hope this has been valuable to you, but I also hope this has been valuable to all of those viewers that are out there looking at these different areas. If you've got any questions, any comments, any disagreements, do let me know. I've been William Pretzel, and I will see you at the next one.